The Swiss Army knife deal. Here's Allen on 2nd and 10. Stepping up into the logo and through. He's got Diggs wide open. It's caught. Touchdown.
Here to Kevin Byard as he takes the over. The corner gets caught outside on the double.
Yo, what is going on, Nation? We're back. So we're Madden 24 action. Today we're going to be going over X-Seam, the play the Bills ran on a Monday night game for a touchdown. This is currently in the pistol, open, flex, close formation. You can find this, of course, in the Bills and the Giants playbook. This play is great at stretching the field vertically and sideline to sideline. So let's just hop right into it. I can cover 3 on defense, and not only on offense, we got a pretty unique formation, but we got a pretty also unique play art in itself. We got a nice seam streak ran by the square receiver Diggs. He goes towards the middle of the field and then cuts out vertically, is able to fit in between the zones. Phenomenal route in itself. On the opposite side, we got a crossing and of course a backside in route ran by the R1 and the square. It's a dagger concept, nothing too crazy. It's pretty common in Madden, of course. But what is unique is the fact that we have 2 eligible receivers behind the line of scrimmage, meaning that we're able to utilize them not only to bring the zones underneath for us to be able to hit the vertical and intermediate routes, but it's also perfect checkdowns that we could use in case they do set their zone drops back further, or of course they're playing over the top. It allows us to hit those checkdowns and of course get our sneaky yards that way. So the reads on this play are going to be Diggs on the seam streak. He's going to be read number 1. Read number 2 is going to be the crossing, the R1 receiver, and then read number 3 is going to be the backside in circle receiver, followed by the checkdowns, whichever way you would like to read them, left to right, right to left. So usually the tight end is 4, RB is 5. Now, you don't have to make any adjustments on this play if you want to use it, but if you want, you can put the RB on an out route if you really want to try to stretch that sideline of the field. If you don't and you want the extra help blocking, no worries on that. I'm definitely not going to judge you, but you can leave him on that route as well. Now, so I don't want to deviate from the play a lot because, of course, it was ran like this in the Monday night game. But the way Madden is, this corner that I'm currently on right now is going to bump this slot receiver on the crosser, and him doing so is going to redirect him in a way that is going to cause him and the backside in to get open in the same spot. And of course, if you have a good user on the defensive side, you're going to be able to play both routes at the same time by accident, or if he doesn't get redirected that much, you'll be able to easily bait the crosser and then go to the end, right? And obviously on the offensive side, we want to take the user out of the play and make sure he doesn't have the ability to bait that. So hopefully I didn't move the slot corner enough for him to not bait, but let me show you guys and then you guys can see exactly what I'm talking about. So here he just gets pressed right there, and then it's a little uncomfortable of a throw because there isn't that much distance in between. Let me try it again real fast. Between the crosser and the end, like the way they get pressed, like the user, if you're, just think about it yourself, like you as a defensive user could probably play both in a way that if he was to throw one, you could probably pick it off. So obviously we want to stop that from happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to motion Diggs to the outside. And what that does is add enough distance in between those 2 routes so that even if the crosser gets pressed and then redirected in his route, it's not a big deal. You could still have enough distance so that the user has to commit to one route or the other, allowing you to throw it to the opposite side. So of course, this is going to be the play setup. You know what? I'll just put there just to make it fancier looking. This is going to be the play setup. The reads are going to be on the screen. All right, so we're going to try to hit Diggs up the seam. What we're going to do is just kind of find a soft spot in the zones, and then that's where we're going to pass lead him open so that he can possession catch it. I'm always going to tell you to pass lead it and possession catch it so that he doesn't get hit. Obviously, you don't want any knockout animations, but all you're doing is looking for soft spots in the zones for you to pass lead him open. It's not that serious, it's not that crazy, but it's a nice consistent 20 yards per pop. And of course, the user eventually, he's going to try to man that up, he's going to try to take it away himself, and then of course that's where the crosser route comes in. I'm not going to spend too much time on a crossing route and a backside in because of course, I went over it a lot. It's a very common concept in Madden. It's not that crazy, but it has a lot of depth that it goes over the top on zones. And of course, it beats man defense, as I will show in a bit. So we'll do it one more time. I threw that just a half tick early. Eventually, the user, he's going to get tired of you hitting that crosser. So I'm going to man him up to signify him manually guarding the crossing route. Let me motion him to the outside because once he takes away the crossing route, all that does is leave a huge hole in the middle of the field for you to hit the backside in. One more time just to showcase it. Boom. side knife soft spot in the zones, and you're able to just pick up your easy yards. And I'm sure you already noticed that the tight end gets really wide open to the point where you have to ask yourself, is it really a check down? Now, obviously, if you're Josh Allen and the Bills, I'm sure a lot of you guys already know, he goes by the motto of life is too short to check down. And sometimes I want to agree with him. But with so much green grass ahead of him, is it really a check down? Especially if that corner does get bumped, because ideally the flat is this corner's responsibility, right? But if he's pressing the slot receiver, then he's not going to be able to get to the flat in time, meaning that you could just easily pitch it, catch it, and then turn upfield for as many yards as you possibly can, right? Now, I'm not going to sit here and showcase a block and release for a running back. I feel like it's a waste of time. So I'm going to put him on the out to showcase, like, yeah, you can throw it the same way to the opposite side of the field. But you know, a block and a release is a block and release, right? You know, these, of course, are check downs. They're meant for the zones to drop down for you to go over the top with it. I'm not going to sit here and tell you to hit a check down, right? But I switched it to cover one man just to showcase that it does beat man defense. And unfortunately, this play does do a good job taking away the seam streak ran by, of course, the square receiver. But what you can do is really fast hit Diggs on as soon as he's kind of going diagonally across the field, kind of like it's a slant route in a way. And what you also want to do is make sure that slot corner that's manned up to the running back is going to the opposite side, so he doesn't magically get in the way. But what you can do is just really fast pitch and catch, just throw it straight to him, especially if it's off man. So just one more time, just like that, boom, you can kind of hit it for a quick short yard situation. If you're on the goal line going for a 2-point conversion, you see man defense, just hit him real fast right there for the quick score. Really cool there. But if I'll try throwing it to him as soon as he goes vertically across the field, it's not going to be there for you. Just a showcase right there. Yeah, it's going to be a pick every single time. So you see man defense, you're not throwing that, right? So what we're going to do, of course, is utilize the 2 or 3 man beating routes on the field, which is going to be, of course, the crossing route. I believe that's like a 73 overall wide receiver over here, absolutely torching the Jets. So when you do motion out the backside in, what you can do is call hike before he gets there. And then it adds a little bit more delay to that route because, of course, he has to get to a spot, then break it across the field. I'll try to showcase him. So yeah, if you call hike early, then it adds a little bit more distance because then he has to get to a spot and then he's able to cut it in the middle of the field. So you add even more distance in between the routes for the user to not guard that. But of course, this is Gabe Davis, who is a good receiver, right? But he's going against Sauce Gardner right now, who's the best man corner in Madden, I believe. So as long as you give it like a downward precision pass to make sure that the corner isn't able to knock it away, you're going to come up with an easy completion right then and there. And then not last but not least, we're going to have the out route ran by the tight end. It's a good out route. It beats man defense. It's not going to absolutely torch him. Like in this case right there, it really torched him. But usually you're going to catch it, get tackled from behind for a nice 5-6 yard gain. Just like that. You can put the RB on and out as well and then throw it to him. But usually I don't really like throwing it to the RBs on out routes for some odd reason. I don't feel like it torches man enough for me. So usually I kind of keep him on a block and release. But of course, hey, the RB, you have kind of complete freestyle ability to put him on whatever route you would like. But in this case, you know, you have a plethora of options if you want to beat man defense. So I switched it to cover 2, and cover 2 can be a little bit tricky because the zone drops of the cloud flats are always going to be interchangeable by the user. And if you're playing against a good opponent, they're going to always kind of alter them a little bit to give you different looks and so on and so forth. So for the most part, if they have deep zones, usually at 30 when they're playing double Mabel or 6-1 or all that stupid stuff, or 3-4-6, 2-3-6 dollar fire zone 2, whatever it's called off the top of my head. Usually it makes it difficult to hit that seam streak, but it depends on the zone drops that they're using. You're able to fit it in, but typically if they're playing like 30 yard flats, you're not going to really find a good spot to be able to hit. Nope, that was just a bad throw. You're not going to really find a good spot to be able to hit that seam streak. Now you would think that you would be able to hit the seam streak basically down the middle for almost a nice chunk gain, but safeties play it really well. And if it's not an interception, you're going to catch it and then get hit from behind and usually just end up becoming a drop pass. Usually, I'm not going to sit here and recommend that you throw this, right? It's not a good throw to throw. And if you throw it a little bit earlier, then it's going to get picked off right there. So you're not going to be able to hit that seam streak majority of the time in cover 2. So it's going to be kind of like a decoy route at that point. But what you are going to be able to do is hit the crossing route as well. As he crosses the middle of the field, you're going to be able to hit that crossing. Depending on the zone drops that he puts, a lot of the times it's going to be able to take it away. So of course, cover 2 defense does well against these type of route combinations. But fortunately, the next video I have is going to be a one-play touchdown in cover 2. So you're going to be wanting to subscribe so you can see that, because it is a good cover 2 bomb. I mean, boom, look at this. Look at this cover 2. Like, huge hole over the middle. That is a one-play touchdown. So that's why your opponent is never going to be in cover 2, because as soon as he does, you're going to get that one-play touchdown. All right, now because 6-1 is a very popular defense, real fast, 30 flats, curl flats. All right, let's do cover 2 Mabel. All right, so I got 6-1 set up, right? We got double Mabels, 30 yards, curls, 5-yard flats. You're going to see opponents use that once you start attacking the sidelines on crossers, underneath. You know, it's not a bad idea, right? To throw out 6-1 defense against this. But unfortunately, because the crossing and the backside in go towards the middle of the field, that's going to be exactly where you're going to want to attack. The user has to pick one. But more importantly, Diggs on the square is going to get absolutely open in 6-1 because there's nobody in the middle of the field. Everybody's going straight to the sidelines. When you see somebody using 6-1, this is going to be one of those times where I tell you it's a good idea to put Cooks off of his block and release and put him on the out, because you want him to go to that assignment so he doesn't get any ideas. You don't want this linebacker here to get any ideas on going vertically up the field. You want him going towards the sideline. And if he does, then you know it's the user on the defense who specifically made that adjustment for him to go vertically instead of to the sideline on the field. And then of course you're just going to hit the running back. So when you see 6-1, you're definitely going to look at and see what this linebacker does. He's going to the sideline. Okay, Diggs is going to be absolutely wide open. He goes vertically, then you know the running back's going to be absolutely wide open, and so on and so forth. That's where I start on this play. If I see 6-1, of course, Diggs is the first read anyway, so you're supposed to be looking there. But it's a little bit something that you should be looking for on the offensive side to see what the defense does, right? So we put him on there. We know the RB is going to go to the flat. And then, boom, we got Diggs absolutely wide open towards the middle of the field. He has to man up that... he has to man up Diggs if he wants to stop this route particularly. So he has to specifically man him up, which is all good. You know, he stops that, and then of course there's absolutely gonna, you know, once he mans him up to stop the seam streak, there's not going to be anything to stop that crossing route going to the sideline, right? So you know the user is going to have to be specifically guarding the crossing route, meaning the backside in is going to be absolutely wide open, because not only does it beat man, but it also beats zone, right? That's what the chess match of this play that you kind of have to go forth and go ahead with, because, you know, that's what 6-1 does. It is a very difficult and different defense to go against. So you kind of have to play that type of assignment football type of game if you really want to abuse your opponent on the defensive side, right? I'm telling you, 6-1, while it is a completely beatable, it's not that good of a defense. It's just frustrating to play against. So just like that, you know, you're going to have to assume the opponent is going to go with the crosser because he manned up the seam streak and all that good stuff, allowing you to hit the backside in with no worries. So just like this is what I've seen people do. I've seen them man that up. I've seen people man up the Diggs on there. And then, of course, they play double Mabel to try to make sure they take away the flats. And then he's going to manually guard the crossing route, right? So that's the example of what you're going to see when you go against this, right? And then, boom, it goes to the crosser. And then, of course, he's going to have to try to bait and switch, or he's going to have to manually take it away. And if that's the case, it's just not a good time for the opponent. So, of course, that's going to have to wrap up this video. I do think this play is really, really, really good. I can definitely see why the Bills called it in their actual game, and I could definitely see why it went for a big play touchdown. So, of course, if you enjoyed the video, I really hope you guys subscribe. We are so close to 1,000, and I really want that cover 2 beater, one play touchdown, to be the little 1,000 play special, because I'm almost at a point where this formation can be an ebook with how good it is and how phenomenal you're able to run the ball, pass the ball, play action, all that good stuff. But other than that, hey, good luck everybody.